Deep Dive Analysis, Sharia, What Everyone Needs to Know by John L. Esposito. This analysis is a strict chapter-by-chapter breakdown of the core arguments and definitions presented in Esposito's book, adhering to its content without external political commentary. The book's foundational argument, Esposito's central thesis, is that Sharia is fundamentally misunderstood in the West. It is not a static, monolithic Islamic law code of criminal punishments, but a vast, pluralistic, and evolving religious ethical path. The book systematically dismantles the reductionist equation of Sharia with hudud, fixed criminal penalties, presenting it instead as a comprehensive moral compass guiding all aspects of a Muslim's life, from prayer and charity to business ethics and family law. 1. Definition and scope. The book begins by defining Sharia as God's will, or the way, derived from the Quran and the Sunnah, or example, of the Prophet Muhammad. Fiqh, or human understanding, is distinguished as the scholarly interpretation of Sharia. This human element is critical. It means fiqh is fallible, changes over time, and has historically produced multiple equally valid legal schools, or madazib. Sharia's scope is total. It covers rituals, ibadat, and human interactions, muamalat. 2. Historical development and schools of law. Esposito details the classical development of Islamic jurisprudence. He explains the methodology of the jurists, including the use of ijma, or consensus, and qiyas, or analogical reasoning. The rise of the four major Sunni Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, and Hanbali schools and Jafari Shiite school is presented as a natural outcome of geographical and intellectual diversity, not a deviation from it. The key point: there is no single Sharia, but rather interpretive traditions. 3. Family law, the core of classical application. The book states that historically, the most developed and consistently applied area of Sharia in Muslim societies has been family law, marriage, divorce, inheritance, and child custody. It explains the classical provisions: marriage as a contract, the man's financial responsibility, the permissibility of polygyny with conditions, and mechanisms for divorce initiated by men, talaq, and women through judicial annulment, khula. It presents these rules as part of a historical patriarchal social structure not unique to Islam. 4. Criminal law, hudud, and its context. Esposito addresses the most controversial element head-on. He lists the hudud crimes: theft, adultery, false accusation, drinking, and apostasy, and their prescribed penalties. However, he embeds them within two crucial text-based caveats. 1. Evidentiary standards. The requirements for proof are intentionally set extraordinarily high, for example, 4 witnesses to adultery, to make application nearly impossible, emphasizing deterrence over implementation. 2. Legal doubt, or shubha. Any doubt invalidates the hudud penalties, pushing the case into the realm of discretionary tazir penalties. The book argues that in classical practice, hudud were rarely applied, serving more as a moral benchmark. 5. Finance and governance. The section on finance explains the principles prohibiting interest, or riba, and uncertainty, or gharar, leading to modern Islamic banking. On governance, the book states that classical Sharia provides moral principles for leadership, justice, and consultation, but no specific divinely ordained political system. The caliphate is presented as a historical institution, not a theological requirement for all time. 6. Modernity, reform, and Sharia in the West. The final core argument is that Sharia has always been subject to reinterpretation or ijtihad. Modern Muslim reformers use classical tools like maslaha, public welfare, to address new issues. On Sharia in the West, Esposito clarifies that for most Western Muslims, it is a source of personal ethical guidance, not a demand for parallel legal systems. Issues like faith-based arbitration in family disputes are framed within existing Western legal concepts of mediation and consent. Conclusion of the book's argument. Sharia is a dynamic, multifaceted tradition. Its historical application was primarily in personal status law, not in criminal law. The reduction of Sharia to stoning and cutting hands is a profound misrepresentation that ignores its ethical depth, legal diversity, and capacity for reform. Understanding it requires moving beyond sensationalist headlines to see its role as a complete way of life for believers.